And we are live. Sorry about the weird screen. It is going to be changed in 1 second. Just let me post this and go live in Facebook. And in 1 second, we will be hello, everyone. It's Latrell, and I'm live. So this is a live math homework help, and as you know, helping with math homework, specifically on algebra. Let me find my pen. Oh, here it is. Okay, great. So let me just share. You know how I do. Just gotta share my video in my group and on my page, and then we're gonna get started. Let me write the title. This is the live algebra. Sorry, I don't like that G. Homework. So, of course, into your questions so that I can answer them for you. However, I do have some questions that I am going to be working on, and that is specifically rational functions and equations. So, just 1 second. Go ahead and share this out to your friends and fam, anybody in college. I know that it is finals time, meaning it's grind time. Time to get whatever you did not understand understood so you can pass this final exam, and you can pass the class. So another thing, just want to let y'all know the reason why I'm doing it today instead of Thursday, so it's Tuesday right now. The reason why I'm doing it today is because make that back smaller, because Thursday is Thanksgiving, and anybody doing this on Thursday, nobody's gonna be paying attention. Nobody's gonna be um asking no questions, and I'm not gonna be answering no questions because I'm gonna be away. So I decided to today, and that way we can still get it in for the week. So I have some problems, like I said, that I'm going to be working through, and I know that a lot of you who are in college are more than likely working on these types of problems called rational equations. Yeah, factoring. So that's what we should do first, factoring. I did a little bit of factoring last time using the AC method, and with rational expressions, the AC method is vital. It's really important that you know the AC method because because that's how you figure out how to cancel things out. All right, so let me get a question up. So let's first work on factoring. I had tutoring sessions today, and just basically working on simple multiplication facts, and we played bingo, math bingo. I had to figure out how to make it math, and it was a lot of fun. They enjoyed it, the students in particular, and they wanted to keep playing it until they won again and again. But they won, I won, we had fun. So here is an expression. Polynomial. So poly means more than one. Poly means more than one. And nomial can be either one of these terms in the polynomial. So it's many nomials. Um, a monomial means just one term. Mono means one. Binomial means just two. Poly is more than two, basically. So we're working with factoring out polynomials, and we're going to use the AC method. This polynomial is in the standard form, and the standard form for a polynomial is C. And the video has been interrupted. Not exactly sure why. And we're back. And since this is a standard form, we would just want to make sure that our polynomial is in the right order. So the degrees of the variables will be decreasing. So we have r to the second, r to the first, and r to the zero, but we don't see it because r to the zero is 1. So see it. But the variables are in decreasing order, and we need to figure out what variables or what the coefficients are so that we can use the AC method. So the coefficients are going to be the numbers in front of the variables. Cool, gotta like. So equals 1. If you don't see anything in front of the first term, then that means it's a 1 in front of it. A equals 1. B equals -1. You don't see a number in front of it, but you do see a minus sign. So that means that the number in front of R is -1. And then C is the constant, or the number that's by itself, which is -6. Okay, so let's see method, meaning we're gonna figure out, we'll find A and C and multiply them together. So A is 1, C, and 1 times -6 is, of course. Now we're going to find factors of -6 that add to -1, which is our B. So we got -6 and +6. Now I did this because it is true that a negative times a positive is a negative. We have a negative as our main number, and we want to find factors of that negative number. So we need to have one of the factors as positive and the other as negative. So since one of them is positive and one of them is negative in this one, we got to switch the negatives, switch the numbers that are negative for the same set of numbers. So 1 times 6, and we got 2 times 3. So 2, 3, and then -3. All right, those are all the factors for -6. So let's, instead of multiply, let's add them together and see if we get -1. Which one will give us -1? Thank you for a person who's watching. Thank you for joining in. Appreciate it. So let's see. -3. I just picked it out of the blue. -3. 2 minus 3 is yay. So let me rewind. I said we're going to add the numbers together. So 2, and we're going to add 2 plus -3 turns into 2 negative rules in this situation, and we end up with -1. So we're going to go back to this polynomial. Let me change the color since we're on another step. And instead of writing -1r, we're going to rewrite the b, or the middle term, using our new numbers that we found that equal -1, 2 and -3. So we're going to write plus 2r minus 6. Okay? 2r minus 3r is -1r. So therefore, this is correct. We didn't change anything. So we're going to group the first two together, and we're going to factor out what the groups have in common. So if we look at r squared and 2r, they both have r in common. So I'm going to write r on the outside and then divide r. Then divide of the terms inside by r. R on the outside, r squared divided by r. R is r times r. When we divide by r, hey Uncle Henry, when we divide by r, that means we're canceling out one of the r's that's in the numerator and denominator, and we're just left with one r. So we got r here, and then 2r divided by r, well, both of the r's cancel out, and we're just left with 2. So that's a +2. If we look at the next group, we have -3r minus 6. So we're factoring out what they have in common. 3 is a factor of 6, and -3 is a factor of -6. So these two have negative. So 3, and then -6 divided by -3. Yeah. Hey, people who popped in, please be sure to share so that anybody who is doing this right now can get a quick lesson for free. -3 divided by -3r divided by -3. We cancel the -3's out. We're left with r. And -6 divided by -3 is +2. So we got +2. This minus makes the 6 negative. So we can say -6 divided by -3. Negative divided by negative is positive. All right, so we have r plus 2 inside the parentheses. That's what we want. And we got r minus 3 on the outside. So we're just going to regroup and represent that as 1 inside the parentheses, 3 in the other. And that's perfect. That's factored. That's the factored version of this in the pink. All right. Now, what we're going to do is the next step, which is cancel out. We're going to make this into a fraction. And then I'm going to do like a million like this. I think I'm just going to, so this is r plus 2 and r minus 3. Just going to erase the whole screen. Okay. So we had r squared minus 6 equals and r minus 3. Okay, that's what that equals. Now we have a polynomial, which is r squared minus r minus 6. We have a polynomial. We have a rational expression with a polynomial in the numerator, and then the denominator is r and r minus 3. Well, numerator already, we said that the numerator is actually 2 3 over r minus 2 times r minus 3. Cool. Everything is factored out. Now, here's the next step. We need to look at the numerator and look at the denominator and say, what do I see in the numerator that I also see in the denominator that's being multiplied to something else? And that's it. So I see r minus 3 in the numerator and also in the denominator. So just like 5 is 1, I can cancel out these r minus 3's because it can also be written as r plus 2, times, can be written like that as well. And just like we have 5 divided by 5 is 1, we can have r minus 3 over r minus 3 is 1 times r. And 1 times that is just what it will do. All right, that is the answer. So I'm going to do some more. One second. So here's another question. Oof, that one is next level. Didn't get there yet. So I want to work on some simplifying. What are the problems I was doing? Okay. These aren't the ones. One second, I'm just getting my other questions. We are factoring polynomials and simplifying rational expressions. Okay, yes. This is what I wanted. Okay, so here's another. This one isn't that bad. Actually, it's pretty easy. 35n squared. Okay, we want to just simplify this. Simplify the expression. Or when you are doing your homework or on a test or something like that. So this is, if we separate, excuse me, if we separate the numbers and the variables, this is what that'll look like. Multiplied, written like this, is the same thing as writing it like this because it's just multiplication. When you multiply fractions, you multiply straight across the top and straight across the bottom. So that means if they're together, you can separate them in multiplication and still still have it be a true statement or expression. So if we look at them individually as individual fractions, 35 divided by 35 is 1, right? And n divided by n over 2. I mean, n divided by n to the second power. that follows this rule right here. If we have x to the m n, then that's the same as writing x to the m minus n. So here's an example. If we have 2 to the 4 over 2 to the 3, we can have 2 to the 4, and 4 minus 3 is 1, and 2 to the 1 power is just 2. So that's an example to apply. For the n's, multiply. So we got n over n squared. Well, n is the same as n to the 1 power. So there's your invisible math that reappeared. And we're going to use this rule by writing AJ the Don, Giovanni Manning, what's up? N to the 1 power, 2. N to the 1 minus 2. 1 times 1 minus 2. 1 minus 2 is 1. Whoa. Whoa, 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 whoa. So here's another rule. Have x to the negative a power, or what a is a number. X to the negative a power means you're going as a fraction, and that x to the power is going to be in the denominator of that fraction, and the power is going to be now positive. So since we have n to the negative 1 power, we're going to write it as a fraction where n goes in the denominator and the 1 is now positive. The exponent is now positive. And like we said before, this 1 is an invisible math situation. So this is just really n to the 1, and into this is just really n. N to the 1 is just n, and 1 over n times 1 is just 1 over n. Looks intimidating, but because you got big numbers. But that was like our favorite thing when we were in school, is if we have something in the numerator and there's something in the denominator, we couldn't wait to cancel it out. Oh, cancel that. So that was fun to do. Let me just notes over here because they're going to come in handy, and erase all this. So we're going to do now 40x squared divided by 25x. Once again, let's separate out the numbers and the variables. And we got times x. Okie doke. So let's look at the numbers first. 45 over 25. 25 is not a direct factor of 45, so we can't just divide it out. But we can simplify it. I see 5 as in the ones place of both of those numbers. So that means that 5 is a factor of both of those numbers. So let's divide out by 5. So if we divide by 5 here, divide by 5 here, 45 divided by 5 is 9. 25 divided by 5 is 5. Cool. Now we have this dividing by variables with exponents. So the numerator has an exponent of 2. The denominator has an exponent of 1. Invisible math. So we follow this rule. X to the m over x to the n equals x to the m minus n, as in Nancy. I should have wrote a and b. I think I might do that. But here's the rule. X to the 2 minus 1 times x to the 2 minus 1 is 1 is x. So times x, or we can write it like this, because why x can be written as a fraction, x over 1, right? X divided by 1 is just X times 1. And with fractions, we multiply straight across the top and straight across the bottom. So 9 times 5. So these are two ways, if ever you see it in to each other. Anybody have any questions so far? Thank you guys for sharing. Thank you guys for hopping in. I know this is an off day, but I wanted to get it in, and I also wanted to share these problems, work these problems out for anybody who is doing them now, because they aren't particularly the easiest. Let me get to the next one. That are a little bit more challenging. One second. All right. So we got, I'm gonna use a different color. But what we got, x over x squared plus x minus 72. Okay, now just want to say also that I use the AC method, which is also called factor. So if you ever hear your professor talk about factor by grouping, maybe some other professors say that, they're the same thing. Factor by grouping and AC method are equivalent to each other. Some people also use just the guess and check method, and I used to do that. I hated it because it would just take me forever to figure out like what it was until I learned the pattern and learned my multiplication facts very well. Also, my integer facts, my negative times negative is positive, positive times negative is negative type of situation. So, if you use the guess and check, like for instance, I'm gonna do the guess and check with this denominator, factoring the denominator here, and you're gonna see how I kind of use prior knowledge to figure out what should be where. But when you use the AC method, which is the same as the group factor by grouping, you'll understand it's basically the explanation of the guess and check. I learned it, like I was taught the guess and check, and I just wish that I knew the AC method first. That way, when I do the guess and check, I'll be able to understand why I'm doing it that way. So here goes. We're gonna look at the denominator and do the guess and check. So we got x squared, and this is how I used to do it. Put your parentheses out. We know that x and x is gonna go here because when we FOIL, that's the check part. Check using FOIL. When you FOIL, x times x is x squared, and that's going to give you that first term. So that's how you know that x has to go in the first spot in both of the parentheses, both of the groupings. So now we look at the last term. So the first term was factored out. The last term now will be factored out. Hold on. I need a drink of water. The last term will be factored out. So we need to factor it out in order to get whatever those two numbers are that we're thinking our factors of 72, negative 72 by the way. It needs to add up to b, which is positive 1. So when I learned this, I didn't even write down what a, b, and c was. Maybe I did. B is 1 and c is negative 72. So we want our factors of negative 72 to add up to b, which is 1. Factors of negative 72. Let me think. Like this is what I did. Let me think. something that's going to give me close to 1, meaning those numbers have to be really close together. And what I think are the numbers that are really close together that are the factors of 72 that I want is 8 and 9, because 8 times 9 is 72. But which one of them is going to be negative? Because I have a negative 72. So one of them has to be positive and one of them has to be negative. Well, I want my 1 to be positive, so maybe the 8 should be negative. So it can be 9 plus, which turns 1. Okay, so I could put my 9 here, and I know my 9 is positive, so I put plus, and I put my 8 here, and my 8 is negative, so I put minus. And that's the factor version of that polynomial. Now let's check. So that's the guess. Let's check and make sure we got it right. So one step before I checked, using FOIL, is I would multiply the inner 2 9 times, and I'll multiply the outer 2. X times negative 8 is right. Then I would subtract. So 9x minus 8x is 1x, and that's my B, 1x. That's what I wanted. So that's one version of the check. Cassandra, Ashia, thank you for jumping on. And let me do my, mind you, all of this was, most of this was in my head. But if you're not like far enough along, then it's going to be hard for you to do this all in your head. That's why the AC method is key. AC method / group factor by grouping is key. So using FOIL, we're going to um, factor using FOIL, right? Okay, so FOIL is, if you don't, FOIL is, let me write it the other way. Write it down. FOIL, outer, inner. Okay, so the things we're talking about are the first. So for F, it's the first ones in the group. The outer is the outer terms in the group. So the outer will be x negative 8. The inner terms in the group are 9 and x. So I'll put inner here. That's pink. And then the last terms are 9 and negative 8. That's pretty cool. Outer is yellow, and then first is blue, and then green was last. This is, hey KB Howlin Ola. So now let's factor. First, outer, inner, last. So first, we're multiplying. I got first next. So outer is yellow. So we're multiplying x. So that's, negative 8 in x, and I don't want to use that color yellow. Negative, that's what that's going to be. And then inner is 9, positive 9 in x. And that's going to be, and then last is 9 times, which is 72, negative 72. Okay, we're simplifying. Negative 8x plus 9x is positive 1x, and then we don't need the 1x, so we're just gonna write 1. We're just gonna write x minus 72. Cool. So we use FOIL to factor, to check our factoring, make sure it's going to get us back to, okay. So We factored out the denominator using the guess and check. I don't like the guess and check. And I don't like teaching the guess and check because it's making my student know, like, just think back to a whole bunch of information that they probably don't have on hand and ready to go right now. So I always teach the AC method. Even though it has more steps, you more than likely will not get the AC method slash factor by grouping wrong when you're factoring. All right, so let's go back to okay, so it's x plus 9 times x minus remember that 2 x minus and I said x plus 9. Yep, time. And we're just canceling out. We're seeing what's in the numerator and also in the denominator. Okay, hold on. I gotta bring something up real quick because you could possibly say cancel x minus 8 out, right? And zeros in the nothing left, right? Wrong. This is this is wrong. What is happening right now in the numerator is there is a 1 being minus 8. There is a 1 there. That's that invisible math. There's a 1 there. And we still got minus 8. Okay, now let's take an extra step that you probably wouldn't take. Let's separate out. Let's separate 1 over x plus 9 times 8 x minus 8 over x minus 8. So we got plus 9 times 8. That's the same exact thing as the previous step. The same thing. So now this 1 over x minus stays like that, and then x minus 8 over x minus 8 turns into 1. And when you multiply 1 to 1 over x plus 9, it's the same as 1 over x plus 9. So that's actually the answer. And I pointed that 1 times. Like, just have to remember that everything, like, just like I should make a whole workshop on invisible math because that's going to help you get so many problems right by knowing that 1 times something is itself and being able to produce that 1 times that thing when you don't see it and making sense of the fact that when you're canceling something out, that 1 is still there. That's why I always write 1 times. Like when I cancel out, I write a 1 underneath because I want you to see that that's what it simplified to. It's not, oh, it canceled out, so it's 0 because you don't see anything. It canceled out, so it's 1. And when you multiply 1 times something, it's itself. So that's why we don't have it because it's the same thing. It's like redundant. That's what our teachers should like point out because I feel like as we progress through middle school to high school, yes, some things are hello Eric, thank you for jumping on. Yes, some things and some concepts should be mastered as we move on, but some things there sometimes they're not. And so I just feel like they should be incorporated into the lesson as time goes on so that the student decides not to use it. But as a teacher, I'm going to show you every time that this is what's happening so that when you're writing it down on your paper, you refer back to your notes and you can say, oh, I canceled out the numerator and denominator and I have a 1 left, not I have a 0 left in the numerator. Because that's a whole different type of fraction. Okay. let's do some more. Out. So if you have any, what you want me to do, what kind of problem you want me to do, what questions you want me to answer. By the way, it's Black Friday week and got some things on sale. Got a 30-minute one-on-one tutoring session, and I have my Ask Me quick lesson. So what you do is you submit a question like one of these and say, I don't even know how to do this. Can you please show me how to do this? I will do a problem like that. I will give you my notes. I will send a video of me doing the problem out like I'm doing right now, and extra customized study material so that when you are doing this again or you're doing the rest of the problems on your worksheet, you'll have notes so that you can understand how to do the rest of them instead of just that one. Because it happens a lot. Like when we're in school, or when you're in school, you see the professor or your teacher do it on the board, and you think that's the way you're supposed to do every problem that you see like that. But that's not always the case. And then you get mad. I got mad too. I'm not accusing nobody, but you get mad because you do your homework and you're like, my homework was nothing like what we did in class. You ever said that before? I have. And so that's why getting these little itty bitty details is so important to me. Super. All right, so let's do one that's a little bit more complicated. Squared plus b. I'm gonna just use y because I got it. Y squared over b squared. Okay. Okay. So we're going to use the factor by grouping. I'm not doing a guessing check. I did that to show you that that's one way that a lot of you are probably doing it, but the factor by grouping or the AC method is the way to go. So looking at, I'm a green. Right, looking at this expression, we there's nothing we can do right now. It's just is the way it is, the way it is. We can't simplify it unless we factor. And so that's what I'm about to do. I'm about to factor the numerator. Then I got to go and factor the denominator. And that's a different type of factoring that we haven't done yet. And I'm going to show you when I'm done this. So the numerator, we're factoring by grouping using the AC method. And we want to identify A, B, and C. So I don't see front of, but it is a number, is 1. A is 1. B is positive 7 and C. Okay, so what we're about to do now is multiply A times C, because that's the AC method. So A equals 130, and that is, now we find the factors of negative 30 that are going to add up to positive 7. So we have 1 negative 30, and we also have 30. Hello, Queen in Love. Thank you for joining. We have, let's see, and 2 times positive 15. Let's see some more. 3. 3 times negative 3. 4. 4 is not a factor of 30, but 5 times and negative 5 times 6. 7, 8, no. Once you get to two numbers that are really close to each other, you're pretty much done factoring. Yeah. I say 3 times 30. It's not 3 times 30, y'all. It's 3 times 10. So I was like, where's my 10? It's 3 times negative 10 and negative 3 times positive 10. Okay, cool. So I kind of sort of already know which one it's going to be because 7, right? I want positive 7. And I know when I combine 3 and 10, somehow I'm going to get something close to a 7. So how about 10 minus 3? 10 minus 3 is 7. So I'm going to go with this one, the second one, 10. So 10. Hey, Letitia. Thank you for jumping on. Share if you are able. Appreciate it. Negative 3 plus 10. That can also be minus 3. Looking at the number line will help you to see that this is true. Don't feel like drawing out the number line because it takes a while. But if you need a number line, type number line in the description and I will send you one in the comments, I mean. So these are the two numbers we're going to use as our new coefficients for y. So we got minus 3 now, minus 30, okay? Negative 3y plus 10y is the same thing as writing 7y because we just saw that right here. So now we're the first two together and group the last two together. Those groups, what the terms in those groups have in common. So y squared and 3y, negative 3y that is. They have just one y because y squared is actually y times y. And 3y has just one y. So they have at least one y in common. Okay? They don't have two y's in common because 3y only has one y. So but they definitely have one y in common. All right, so that's what I'm going to factor out. So we're divided by y and negative 3y. That y is still on the outside. Y squared divided by y to the 1 power. So that's really y to the 2 minus 1 based on this rule over here. Over x to the n is the same as x to the m minus n. I need to get my charger because my computer's dying. 1 second. On alert me in 4 minutes. The computer's dying in 4 minutes. So 2 minus 1 is 1. So y to the 1 is just y. Y to the 1 is just y. So I'm going to just erase this since I don't have much space. Minus 3y divided by y. The y is canceled and we're just left with 3. Y is 1. 1 times 3 is 3. Okay, now we're looking at the second group. We got 10y minus 30. If anybody, whoever is watching on, I see a one little eye, comment with a wave. So I'd like to see who it is. 10y and negative 30 have actually 10 in common. And one thing I want to point out is that we want to get 10 as, we want to get y minus 3 as what's going to be left after we factor out something from this group of two terms. So 10 is what they have in common. So let's factor out 10 and see what's left. Hopefully it's y minus 3. So we got 10y, some cold air. 10y divided by y minus divided by, why I say 10? 10y divided by 10 minus 30. 10y divided by 10 is actually just y. 10 divided by 10 is 1, and 1 times y is y. And then 30 divided by 10 is 3. We got y minus 3 again. That's what we wanted, and we got it. So now we're going to rearrange and write our factor out numerator. This is our numerator. Sometimes you got to do all of this in order to solve your answer, simplify your expression. So in one set of y minus 3, in the second set of parentheses, we got y 10. And that's your numerator. We can factor it out. We can factor it out using FOIL. And to see that this, in fact, is the same as y squared plus 7y minus 30. Well, we don't have a lot of time to do that. So we're going to continue on and factor out the denominator. And try to it's very helpful for the video got interrupted. And we're back. I think this video program, live streaming program that I'm using, called zoom.us. If you ever need to use it, it's very helpful for like me showing you what I'm writing, and also like being able to show myself, because all this time I have not been able to show myself at the same time, and I think it's really cool. So our numerator is now y times, let me write this over here, y minus 3, and let us, excuse me, now factor the denominator. Okay, and b squared, y'all, we're using y, this is y, 9y squared plus y. Okay. Okay, so like we've been doing, we want to factor out what the two terms have in common. So I see nines. I see a 9 that's in the ones place, and I see a 9 that's multiplied by 10, which is 90. I also see y's. Both of them have y's. One of them has two y's because it's y squared. The second one has just one y. So they definitely have 9 in common. They definitely have a y in common, just one y. So we're going to factor 9y out. 9y. 9y squared divided by 9y plus 90y, 9y. And what do we get? 9. 9 divided by 9 is 1. Y squared divided by y to the 1 power is y to the 2 minus 1. Based on this rule over here is 1, and y to the 1 power is just y. 90 divided by 9 is 10, is 1. So let's this, and we got y times 1 is y, and 10 times. So we have 9y times the quantity, or the sum of y plus 10. Cool. Now let's put this all together. And what do you get? Put it all together and we got 9 times 10. Um instructions for the AC method, please comment AC method in the comments of this video. It's important. I gotta type it up from just go ahead and send one to you too. So I see that things are being multiplied. If being added, so if it was something like this, if it was 3 plus 10 over time, you better not cancel out. You can't cancel out. Cannot. You only cancel out factors of a factor or another number or another term, meaning it has between these two. That's the only way you can factor. That's the only way you can cancel out. Not if it's being added. So since it's being multiplied, when we have two set of parentheses smashed together, there's no space or sign in between it. It means it's being multiplied, and we can cancel out. So we got y plus 10, cancel out with y plus 10, 3 in numerator and non-denominator. And there you have it. I thought I was going to be able to do way more than what I just did, but since these take a lot of time, and I wanted to explain some really important things regarding how to complete factoring out, simplifying rational expressions, what's allowed, what's not allowed based on rules. I took my time on these so that you can understand how to do them when you see them. Now, the next thing that needs to be done, what I wanted to include was adding and subtracting rational expressions. And then dealing with rational equations, solving for rational equations. That's a whole other story. And a lot of people have difficulties with them because it is a more complicated version of adding and subtracting regular fractions. So a ratio, ration, let me write this down. I'm just going to clear the screen real quick. Rational and they're the same thing. Ratio, a ratio you may see looks like, right? Or it can be written as 5. Isn't that a fraction? Yeah, so the only way you think of a fraction is just, that's the only way you know a fraction as. But a ratio, it can be written in different ways. You can even write it as to 5 with words. But when you hear rational, it's fractions because it's talking about a ratio. So here's a problem that I wanted to do today, but I'm gonna wait for next time because um I wasn't able to get to it. Hold on, just let me load the page real quick. Then I'm gonna be jumping off. Also, if you have any issues with these or any other type of, is this division? Any other type of algebra concept, please be sure to utilize one this week for Black Friday with KOG, Knowledge Over Grades. My Ask Me quick lesson is going to be just like this, where I'm answering a question in the quick video. I'm going to send the video to you. I'm also going to send you a copy of my notes and customized study material. Also, I'm hosting or offering 30-minute tutoring sessions. So real quick, they're also discounted. So if you added the 30 minutes together to get an hour, it's going to be even less than what I charge now for an hour of tutoring. So go ahead and take advantage of it. Do not fail. Get your questions answered and stop being confused so that you can pass these classes and move on to the next level. Because you want this to be behind you. If you do not pass, I am actually thinking about hosting a group study session. If you're interested in that, please comment group in the comment section. And I was going to do that. I'm thinking about doing it between like the semester, so like December 30th something to like January 10th or something like that. Like 2 week session just to get your basis strengthened. Maybe do some extra lives Q&As, get some questions answered and things like that. So let me know if you're interested. And then I'm planning on launching the KOG Math Success Academy in the end of January of 2019. And that's going to be this times 10, like times 100. It's going to be courses, which will be can be used as supplements for your class. Like, oh, I forgot how to add fractions. Let me go to the academy and get a quick lesson on that and get strengthened and master that so that when I go back to do rational equations and expressions, I can do it accurately. So then I'm going to be there, helping you out, giving you all the advice that I have stored in my brain because I want you to succeed because I love you and I love your success. So let me write down a type of problem that I was planning on doing tonight. Something like P over 8 plus 5 over 8 equals 11. Something like that. I'm sure you've seen it on your study guide, on your homework assignment that you've done in the past or you're doing now. It's a whole process to figuring this out, and I want to help you. So next time, I'm going to do problems like this. If you have other problems that you want me to do, I know next week is going to be an interesting week because a lot of y'all going to be jamming and cramming to get this knowledge in your head so you can take those final exams. Do not wait till the last minute to study. I have one KOG math achiever in my group. Join the group, by the way. KOG Math Achievers Club on Facebook and on Google Plus. You're on Facebook, so join on Facebook. If you're not on Facebook, you can join the Google Plus group. But she expressed to me that she wanted to get a head start on studying for her test. I just got a text and just grabbed my attention real quick. But she wants to get a head start on studying for her test, her final exam. So that's great, and that's what you should do also. And I support that. I will help you if you join my group. Got a lot of daily posts that I post up to help you get your mind ready and right for studying and for focusing on what you need to do to organize your notes, your thoughts, your skills, your math skills, so that you can pass and be prepared to take your final exam. So that's all I have for tonight. Everybody have a great week. Please be safe in your travels to wherever you're going to visit family for Thanksgiving. And have a good night. Bye. Now I gotta figure out how to end everything. This is annoying. When did that end?